Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down face to face with Marthe Cohn, who is a Holocaust survivor, and she wrote a book called Behind Enemy Lines about her experience as a Jewish French spy. Let's take a look. We're here at the beautiful Grove Hotel in downtown Boise, and we are talking to Marthe Cohn. She is a Holocaust survivor, and she was also a spy behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
How old were you?
When they occupied, that was in 1940. The war started in 1939, but nothing occurred until really June 1940, when the real war started, when the Germans came from Holland and Belgium and invaded the north of France, the northern region of France. And then French army was absolutely not prepared for that type of war.
You were just 20 years old. A woman in that culture at that time, and a Jewish woman on top of it, and you decided to take some action. You spoke,
but not right away.
Not right away. You spoke
No.
fluent German. So tell me how you went from that point to becoming, a German nurse, right? And a spy.
Yeah.
What transition there?
In 1940, when the Germans occupied France, the changes were very slow. But in 1942, when they understood that he was collaborating 100% with the German, then the resistance became much more structured and active in France. And many Jews were in the resistance. And we were, my whole family, all my brothers and sisters were in the resistance.
Women in the 40s had no power, but as a Jewish woman in that culture, you decided to take action.
You are wrong. We were very active in the resistance.
We were very active.
We were five
Which was
sisters.
brave.
And
brave.
all the sisters were active. And many Jewish women were in the resistance.
To me today, to listen to your story, I'm looking at someone who's so brave.
It had nothing to do with bravery. It was just normal to fight.
When did you become a spy? When did you start crossing
that
over?
Once I was in the army. I joined the army as a registered nurse. But they decided I was a social worker. I had no background in social work, but
you
in
were
the
a nurse.
army, whatever they tell you do, that's what you
That's
do.
what you do.
So I met the colonel. I walked in the square of the village where we were headquartered. He asked me if I spoke German, and I told him yes, as well as French. And he asked me if I accepted to be transferred to the French, I was in the French army, but to the secret service of the French First Army. And I accepted. That was it.
Were you afraid?
When he left, I sat down and wondered what I had done with my life. But it was too late. I had given my word, that was it. So 2-3 days later, I was picked up by the Secret Service, taken to Mulhouse, which is another city in Alsace, and where I underwent extensive training for what I was going to do. And after the training was finished, they asked me to formulate my own alibi, because that would stick much better than an alibi which is given to me.
You have seen so much in your experience, and I'm sure you could write another book with all your lessons and wisdom for us. But for women today, what advice would you share with us?
To be engaged.
To be engaged. What does that mean?
That means not to sit on your bottom, to be involved in the life of the country, to be involved in the politics of the country, in the economy of the country. If you want changes, you have to do your part. And if you don't do your part, you have no right to talk about it.
Well, Marthe, I want to thank you so much for taking time to be here. This is an incredible story that we're honored to tell. Our voice is about telling stories, and I want to remind you that your voice matters as well. Thank you.
Rebecca, what a powerful story. And I know for you it meant a lot on a personal and a professional level. What was your biggest takeaway?
Oh my gosh, there's so many tidbits of inspiration from her, but I really think when I asked her, what should women today be doing? And she said, get engaged, get involved, do something. And I love that message. I think it never really goes away.
Yeah.
So,
and it's amazing. She's in her 90s and she's still very engaged. So
right.
Wonderful story.
And she's got a book out, Behind Enemy Lines.
Okay.
So you go and read that too.